King Henry I, also known as Henry Beauclerc, ruled England from 1100 until his death in 1135. The youngest son of William the Conqueror, Henry's ascension to the throne was anything but smooth, and his reign was characterized by both challenges and triumphs. Henry I was born in 1068, the fourth son of William the Conqueror and Matilda of Flanders. His birth came at a time when his father was consolidating his control over England after the Norman conquest in 1066. As one of several children, Henry's early life did not suggest that he would ever ascend to the throne. The throne initially seemed destined for his elder brothers, but after the premature deaths of his older siblings, including William II, Rufus, Henry found himself next in line. Following the death of his father in 1087, England was divided among William the Conqueror's sons. Robert was given Normandy, William Rufus inherited England, and Henry received a modest inheritance of land, mostly in the western part of England. Despite this relatively small territory, Henry would rise to become King of England, setting the stage for his significant role in English history. Henry's path to the throne was not straightforward. When William Rufus died in 1100, it was under circumstances that left questions of succession unresolved. William was killed during a hunting accident in the New Forest, and Henry, who was in the vicinity, quickly seized the opportunity to claim the throne. On August 5, 1100, Henry was crowned King of England at Westminster Abbey, amidst the uncertainty and political turmoil that followed William Rufus's death. Henry's claim to the throne was bolstered by his intelligence, ambition, and understanding of the political landscape. He was also able to garner support from both the nobility and the church. His brother, Robert of Normandy, had been in the Holy Land during the time of William Rufus's death, and thus was unable to act quickly to assert his own claim. This allowed Henry to secure the throne with minimal resistance. He was not, however, free from opposition. Robert did eventually return to England, leading to a brief conflict known as the Battle of Tinchebray in 1106, where Henry decisively defeated his brother and secured his position as king. Henry I's reign is notable for its emphasis on legal and administrative reforms. His legal system was one of the most advanced in medieval Europe, and his influence on the development of English common law would echo through centuries. Upon ascending to the throne, Henry I inherited a kingdom with a fragmented and inefficient administrative system. One of his first actions was to take steps toward centralizing royal power and establishing greater control over his realm. He reorganized the royal bureaucracy, increasing the number of officials who could be trusted to carry out his orders. One of his key reforms was the establishment of a system of itinerant justices who were sent around the kingdom to ensure that the law was applied consistently and fairly. This marked the beginning of an organized and systematic approach to justice in England, one that would be further refined by his successors. Henry also sought to manage his kingdom more effectively by focusing on revenue. He implemented the exchequer, a formal financial system to ensure that royal revenues were collected efficiently. This system became the foundation for English fiscal administration and was one of the most advanced in medieval Europe. Henry's economic reforms were not just focused on the collection of taxes, but also on ensuring that the nobility and the church paid their fair share, which was critical to maintaining the royal finances. Henry I's legal reforms were one of his most enduring legacies. Upon his coronation, Henry issued the Charter of Liberties, which was a precursor to the more famous Magna Carta of 1215. The Charter of Liberties outlined the rights and privileges of the church and the barons, while also attempting to curb the abuses of power that had been common under William Rufus. It emphasized the king's duty to protect the rights of his subjects and to administer justice fairly. It also aimed to address issues such as the abuse of feudal practices, including the overcharging of fines and the illegal seizure of land. Although the Charter of Liberties did not establish a permanent and unassailable legal framework, it was a significant step toward the development of constitutional principles in England. It set a precedent for future monarchs to follow, as it demonstrated that the king was subject to the law and had an obligation to govern fairly. Henry I's relationship with the Church was also a crucial aspect of his reign. He understood the importance of the Church in maintaining order and providing legitimacy to his rule, and he sought to strengthen ties with the papacy. Early in his reign, Henry sought to improve the Church's administration in England by reforming the abbeys and monasteries, as well as ensuring that Church leaders were loyal to him. At the same time, Henry engaged in several disputes with the Church. He sought to assert royal authority over ecclesiastical appointments, leading to tensions with both the Archbishop of Canterbury and the papacy. One of the most notable incidents was the investiture controversy, a conflict between the monarchy and the Church over the right to appoint bishops. Although Henry managed to secure some victories in this conflict, it highlighted the ongoing power struggle between the Crown and the Church. Henry I's reign also marked a shift in the relationship between the Anglo-Saxon population and the Norman elite. While William the Conqueror and his successors had focused on consolidating Norman rule in England, Henry I was more focused on ensuring stability and preventing rebellion. One of his notable acts in this regard was his handling of the Anglo-Saxon population. He maintained many of the traditions of the Anglo-Saxon system, including the use of the Anglo-Saxon language in court and the continuation of some Anglo-Saxon laws. However, he also sought to integrate the Norman elite with the Anglo-Saxon population, ensuring that both groups had a stake in the kingdom's governance. Despite his attempts at integration, Henry's rule still faced unrest from time to time, particularly from the Anglo-Saxon population. However, his emphasis on legal reforms and administrative centralization helped to maintain order and prevent widespread uprisings. Henry III's reign ended with a crisis over succession. His only legitimate male heir, William Adelin, died in the White Ship disaster of 1120, leaving Henry without a direct successor. Although Henry had named his daughter Matilda as his heir, this decision led to a bitter succession struggle. After Henry's death in 1135, Matilda's claim to the throne was contested, leading to a civil war known as the Anarchy. This conflict between Matilda and her cousin Stephen of Blois would ravage England for nearly 2 decades, leaving the kingdom divided and unstable. Despite this, Henry I's legacy as a capable and reformist monarch endured. His legal and administrative reforms would influence future generations, and his efforts to centralize royal power set the foundation for the English monarchy in the centuries to come. His reign marked a critical period in the development of the English state, laying the groundwork for the eventual emergence of the Plantagenet dynasty.